Episode 18, Office Politics. Office politics are a dangerous game. Unfortunately, once you have the bullseye on your back, they're very difficult to avoid, especially in small companies. My plan was never to be an employee, but for 7.5 years, I had to do so while I figured out how to become an entrepreneur. I had the odds stacked against me from the moment that I walked through those office doors. Why? Well, I graduated in college in 2007, right before the economy crashed. There were no jobs, like barely anything. My father had just accepted the opportunity of a lifetime at this company in Orlando, which is where I went to school. With nowhere to go and no job, I moved back in with my parents until I could support myself. Since I was living with my parents, my father saw just how difficult it was for me to find a job, and so he got me a job at his new company doing accounting. Now, my father was the CFO of this company, but that did not mean that I had it easy. In fact, I had it really, really, really rough. Just about everyone in that office hated me without ever getting to know me. I got another job at a marketing agency and left his company, but because the economy was so bad, that agency was not doing very well. While I worked at my dad's office, I had become friendly with the e commerce director. He was a really cool guy, and one of the only people who was nice to me in the entire office, except for a few people who had the cubicles next to mine. I was so excited to be able to talk to someone in my field. One day, while my agency job was not in the best place, he asked my dad how I was doing, because he wanted to offer me a job since a position on his team had opened up. My dad told him to call me and ask me for himself. My dad did not want to be involved because of his position. I got the phone call and I tried to play it cool, like my current job was fine, but he saw right through it and offered me a job. I was really hesitant to walk back into that building full of people who despised me, but at the time, I really had no choice. And so I accepted the job. Cue the office politics. Aside from myself, there were a few other just out of college kids whose parents worked there. And since the economy was so bad, they had jobs in their parents' departments just like I had started out with when I worked in accounting for my dad. We were super lucky and super grateful that our parents could get us a job when there was none. Everyone else in the office absolutely hated us, and they did whatever they could to make our lives miserable. It made it even worse that I had been hired back by someone in a different department that had nothing to do with my father's position. I just kept my head down and worked as hard as I could in order to prove myself. I think it was the best thing that I could have done. I focused really hard on my job and learned as much as I could. I did really well and eventually ran the entire business to consumer marketing channel in my early 20s. And it wasn't because of my dad, it was because I busted my ass. I learned everything that I could. In the end, I got fired twice because of office politics, so I don't know how to win at that game. Nor am I interested, really. But what I learned was this: whether you're trying to start a business or you're trying to find a really good job, if you find yourself in a situation where the people at the company focus more on the office politics than growing the business, leave. If you ever find yourself in a company that has a lot of office politics, and despite the stellar job that you're doing, they focus more on the politics, you need to pivot and find another job. Trust me, it is not worth it to stay. From the aspiring business owner perspective, you just need a job to get you from point A to point C. Point B is the financial stability that you need in the meantime. If this is you, and there are currently no other jobs available, here are some tips on how I managed to stay out of Dodge and stay at the company for as long as I did. 1. Avoid anything that has to do with politics if you can. Don't even listen to what people are saying. If someone starts talking about other people, walk away. The less you know, the better. 2. Be true to yourself and who you are. Don't pretend to like someone and become their friend just to use them to climb the ladder. This is literally just gross. 3. Do the best job that you can, no matter what. Even if you despise the person who you're working for, do the best job that you can. Be a team player. 4. Be humble. 5. Make sure that your superior knows what you're doing. Send them reports and make sure that they know what your contributions are. 6. Blend in. If you know that there's a battle that you cannot win, stay out of the way. Let the political Goliaths duke it out. Don't get involved or take sides. Just do the best job that you can. 7. Your main and only focus is your work. Try to keep your interactions with your coworkers professional, shallow, and minimal. Just remember that everything is temporary. The only way to get out of a bad situation is to stabilize the situation to the best of your ability and find a better situation. Don't be a sitting duck, and don't be the humans in the book who move my cheese either.